Welcome to a new episode of TTG Conversations 5 Questions video series. I am Karen Yu, Group Editor of TTG Asia Media. In this episode, we will take a look into the future of hotel design. And taking us through this topic is Donovan Soon, Director of FDAT. Now, Donovan is the founding partner at FDAT, an award-winning architecture and design studio. He is recognized as one of Singapore's emerging architects by the Urban Redevelopment Authority's latest edition of 20 Under 45. He has also won the Lee Kuan Yew Gold Medal and the Board of Architects Book Prize. Welcome to the show, Donovan.
Hello.
I've got 5 questions for you, and here is the first, Environmentally friendly architecture, in terms of the way they're built, operated, and maintained, isn't a new concept. But the pandemic seems to have increased people's awareness of environmental concerns. Have you seen this change impacting the way your work around sustainable architecture design?
Yes, but it's not so much because I think even before the pandemic, we were already designing very biophilic and sustainable buildings. So it's very much part of our ethos, right? So, but this increased awareness, of course, and the emphasis is a good thing. And we do hope that this will raise the current threshold and create more acceptance, I would say, of green design, because a lot of times people perceive aspects of it as in, okay, how much is it going to cost me, and so on. And then I think this greater awareness really helps because customers, guests, they're getting more aware of climate change and pandemics, making them look towards nature. So I think these are one of the ways that it's been environmentally friendly architecture has come to the more to the forefront.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. And what do these changes mean for hotel developers in particular?
I think they need to be more aware and in touch with their guests, because guests, I mean, they are becoming more sophisticated, they are well educated about the environment and the role that they play in it. So, and they can sense authenticity. So if you're really genuine about caring about the environment and being more nature centric, then I think they can sense that about you, and it will of course affect the bottom line, which is what most people will be looking at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how can sustainable hotel designs impact the guest experience?
I think it will impact the guest experience when it's treated holistically and it's integrated into the whole experience. So, for example, in Park Royal Collections, Marina Bay, and also like Park Royal Collections Pickering, we wanted to integrate a lot of greenery into our designs. So, as you know, like the urban city centers, in Asia and around the world, they are increasingly very built up. There's a lot of hard surfaces, all the interior spaces are hermetically sealed and glazed. So all these hard surfaces sort of reflect the heat back into the city, and it creates this very hot and uncomfortable environment, which then requires a lot of cooling, right? A lot of energy spent to cool the building. Right? So it's kind of cyclical. So for us, we find that greenery helps a lot, right? I mean, Singapore in many ways is very famous for its urban greenery, and we are very keen, to take it vertically, because Singapore doesn't have a lot of land. So we don't have horizontal space, but we have vertical space. So we can use that. And we find that greenery, it works in so many ways, because for example, it offers visual relief. People psychologically, they relate to nature and greenery. And then it helps both the users of the building as well as passers-by and people in the city. They can see the greenery. Right, and then it sort of it shields hard surfaces and prevents the sun from heating up all the concrete and glass. Right, and then at the same time, it produces oxygen through photosynthesis. It absorbs carbon dioxide, and in some sense, it acts like a carbon sink, because it takes carbon dioxide and it builds more organic material. Right, so it's a question whether we can do this in a significant manner, which we think that we can. I mean, if you look at Park Royal Collections Pickering and Marina Bay, that's a substantial amount of greenery that we added, right? And we believe that this really helps the users experience, right? So for example, in Marina Bay, it's integrated into how you experience the hotel. So the moment you enter, you see a three-story tall green wall, right? Like what we say, we don't have a lot of horizontal space, but we have vertical space. So we sort of emphasize that. And then you're immediately surrounded by these 360-degree stepping planters that lead you up to the 20-story atrium. Then as you cross the reception is realized like a bridge. So it's like we realized it like a treetop walk. So on two sides, you have like 6-meter trees. So I think every part of the hotel, even the public areas, the lounge, it's designed almost like a garden, right? So we sort of, the atrium was also huge. It's one of Singapore and the region's largest atriums. It's 20 stories tall. So there's a tremendous scale. So we also use greenery to break down that scale. So we have 6-meter trees, and we introduce a lot of pavilions. So these are the architectural language of landscape and parks. So, but our pavilions are very organically shaped, right? Because originally the hotel was also very famous for songbirds, and these are real songbirds, right? People always thought they are recordings, but they're real birds, right? And they work in shifts, so there's no the caretaker. Someone takes care of the birds, right? At the end of the day, they go home. They don't. There's no sweatshop involved, right? Yeah, and so we're actually inspired by these birds, which because of the way the atrium is shaped, it sort of reverberates the sound. So the whole atrium has, you can hear the song of the birds, right? So we had these organic shaped pods, like pavilions, that sort of help to create a little bit of shelter, create some delight. I mean, like in the garden, it's always important to have delight. Right? So
I must say, Donovan, that those were actually my favorite parts of the hotel. I was lucky enough to spend a few days there, and I really loved the walkway, like you said. You know, it feels like a treetop walk, and then the surroundings of all the green walls. That was wonderful.
All right, thank you. I mean, I'm glad that it really translates and comes across. Yeah.
All
right.
Okay. Sorry for interrupting you there.
No worries. I mean, it's really good to hear from a user's point of view, because sometimes being the designer, we're always like sort of in our own world, like we're trying to envision how people would experience. So it's good to get this feedback.
And your ideas carried through perfectly. Well done.
Thank you so much.
In the travel and tourism space, there is growing attention on destinations, places, and attractions that offer plenty of wide open spaces for free flowing air and safe distancing. Do you see such expectations coming into the hotel design?
Yes, of course, because I mean, we are in the hotel design. I mean, is certainly not immune to all the things, and in fact, is probably on the front line, because I mean, travel is so restricted. So I feel that hospitality industry needs to respond very quickly to all this. I mean, so it really depends on the context. So for some hotels, like the ones that we were designing, Pickering and Marina Bay, they are in the city center, right? So we don't have so much access to open space, but we can of course design for more cross ventilation, for air to come across freely, for more access to light and nature, right? So for example, in Pickering, I think when we designed, we actually, the building plan was in the shape of an E, so we maximized access to light, natural light, and then we have gardens on every sky gardens on every 4 stories. So that sort of breaks down the high-rise building into low-rise sort of blocks that are stacked on top of one another with access to gardens and nature. And then, of course, I think one of the things that people don't really see is actually the back. So on the back, we have the guest room corridors, right? But instead of, in most city hotels, guest room corridors are enclosed and fully air conditioned 24 hours but in this case, we actually realized it as a nature walk. So you walk through a garden space with trees, plants, and waterscape, rather than inside this 24-hour air-conditioned space that requires light all the time, right? So it was actually quite a bit of a challenge, because most people expect all these hotels and guest rooms to be fully air conditioned all the time. So one step at a time lah, because we feel okay. Let's look at the corridors first, and maybe there'll be a time when people can actually accept part of their rooms, maybe to be not fully air conditioned all the time. Yeah. So we say a step at a time.
I actually like that open corridor aspect of the Pickering Hotel, because I thought it really gelled with the garden in the a garden and hotel in the garden concept.
Yeah, that's why we were Pickering was hotel in the garden, and then Marina Bay, because it was housed inside the original John Portman design building. I mean, I think we envisioned it as garden in a hotel, so it's a pardon the pun.
Right.
Yeah, but we thought that the move to conserve the building, I mean, economically it made sense because and ecologically it made sense because if the building is robust, and I mean, like, it's a very interesting building, right? With this 20-story atrium, it's almost an urban scale atrium. It's building scale, like you put a building inside that atrium.
Right.
Right. It's an amazing space, I would say. But of course, over time, and it sort of became a little bit it became older. So I mean, we needed to sort of recraft the experience, create a new experience, and bring it to a more relevant design today.
Okay, cool. Now, we spoke a lot about both the Marina Bay and the Pickering collection, because you guys were involved in the design work. Now, what is most outstanding about the sustainable design of the Marina Bay property, and has work on that hotel, inspired sustainable ideas for other projects, be it hotels or commercial residence properties?
I mean, I would say that it's for Marina Bay. I mean, there's some very interesting things. I mean, like, over that, the hotel is home to over like 2,400 plants, trees, shrubs, right, and 60 different species. We work closely with Rambol, who is our landscape consultant, right? So I think it shows that for Marina Bay, it shows that older buildings can be given a new lease of life and a new experience. I mean, so can be created within that shell, and that we can put in. I mean, Singapore is quite famous for its sky-rise greenery already, but I mean, in this case, it shows that we can reinvigorate older buildings. I mean, and also put in a lot of greenery, and it doesn't have to be just new buildings, right? And I mean, I've already expounded on why we think that greenery is so important, and that this aspect being integrated into the experience of the hotel is what is very important to us. So as I was saying, I mean, the garden pavilions were something that was quite special to us. So we had a lot of fun with it, right? So designing is not just all serious stuff. So yeah, I mean, and we had a couple of computer whizzes in our office. So the way these pots are being defined, I mean, like, it's only possible today because we have parametric design. So everything's modeled in the computer, right? The way the shape of the pot is very organic. It's different from every angle. So we wanted people to be able to feel different things when they walk around this pavilion, right? And how the members, they are fully self-supporting aluminum members, so there's no additional structure. And I think the tallest one is 12 meters tall, right? And it allowed us to sort of model this thing, and then it was being transmitted overseas and fully constructed overseas during our circuit breaker. And then it was dismantled again, shipped to Singapore and put together. So it was, I think, a very interesting and quite successful aspect of that the project. And I think that what we were really happy about was this, when we first started, on Pickering, and then now Marina Bay. So this whole idea of having lush greenery and being very sustainable, now it's become very integral part of the brand, Park Royal Collections brand. So we are also working on the next one, which is Park Royal Collections in KL, right? So it's and this one I think has it's also very interesting. It also has a lot of greenery, but this time it's all on the facade. Right? And I think we've got a 140-meter long facade right in the heart of KL in the shopping district. That one I think is going to be quite special. We've got I think 78 over sky gardens that are cantilevered out into the sky. So I think that's something to look out for.
Must be visually stunning.
Yeah, I mean I think it's going to be very interesting. We'll bring the greenery straight up to the rooms and to the public areas.
Thank you so much for spending time with me, Donovan.
Yes, thank you for having me.
All right, and that's all the questions I have for you. So to everyone, take care and stay safe. I'll see you on the next episode.